anointed man of God, our pastor, the appointed deacon, various deacons and deaconesses, church leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. If truly we are yet in the first half of the year, and indeed I'm reading this speech for the launching of my book, then certainly there is joy in my heart, and maybe, or maybe not, a smile on my face. The first time I set a goal and achieved it in time. For this I am grateful to God Almighty, and my appreciation goes to my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nganjo. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for being there for me from the beginning. I equally want to thank my high-profile mentors. First, our pastor, Mr. Antifon Ephraim. Indeed, sir, you lead by example. Thank you. Next, Dr. Mushin Williams. Sir, your intellect has always marveled me from childhood. Thank you for assisting and being supportive to my dreams and goals. Thank you again. Last, but certainly not the least, my sincere appreciation goes to Mr. Ngong Paul, the dearest to my heart. It will be no exaggeration to say I wouldn't be here this quick, even for your input in my life. Thank you for grooming me into a young leader in the past 5 years. This list will be complete if I don't mention my good friend, Mr. Mbankasi. You stood with me through thick and thin. Thank you, boss. You are more than a friend to me. You are a brother as well. To all who have honored my invitation, big thanks to you. I sincerely appreciate your effort. No bigger respect could be shown to me today. Thank you once more. In the tornado of misery, we Africans for long have recognized success as living and working abroad. This sure explains the fact why African families will sell their property just to sponsor a family member's trip overseas, even if he or she will live a clandestine life there. So it's been rampant to see fathers beat their chests and being respected in the community because he has children in America, France, Italy, Germany, just to name a few. So every young African grew up with a desire to travel overseas. It's a pity, but this desire later turned into a divine mission, to a point where passports and other documents were blessed in churches. Prophecies such as, you will travel to America soon, your level is not Africa, God will relocate you overseas where you belong. Such prophecies were rampant, and our African churches filled up like a pilgrimage of ants towards sugar. Every church member had one cry, or call it a prayer point: Father, locate me, my story must change. On the other hand, the Western world didn't make things any better with their numerous scholarships given to our most valuable brothers and sisters for their extraordinary brain and knowledge. In the same time, the most brave and courageous set out on a journey across the Sahara or a sail across the Mediterranean Sea in search of greener pastures. In their numbers, they challenged nature, and in their numbers, they perished. It is often said, a nation is built by the wise and courageous. But in our case, while our intelligent ones are taken away with lucrative scholarships, internships, fellowships, and job offers, our brave prove their courage by challenging nature. Those who did not succeed traveling out of Africa were considered as failures. Families without members in America and Europe were labeled poor. So the weak, dull, and dirty remained in Africa. Ironically, our African brothers and sisters who traveled overseas never denied an opportunity to remind us of the backwardness of our continent with the numerous pictures they would take and advertise as if they lived in paradise and us in hell. Just a drop of water we cry out like the rich man did to Lazarus in heaven. Yes, Africa is rich, yet we live in hell. Faced with this reality, I understood at the age of 19 that if things had to change in Africa, then each individual was to be on a mission, pick up a challenge, and pursue a dream which will make our land a better place. For a moment, I invite each and every one of you to imagine Africa in which youths are dedicated to hard work and disciplined to succeed rather than being given to alcohol and to drugs. Africa, where the old indeed are wise, committed to educating and promoting the younger ones rather than giving negative criticism and mystical powers to stop them from growing. Brethren, Do not think for a minute that I am daydreaming or that I am blind to the reality of our land. In full consciousness do I speak, and I agree that we are backward, lazy, poor, and really easily deceived. I know only a few among us truly work for the benefit of others, thereby contributing to the goal of Africa. It is for this reason G. Philemon Gang and I, Nganjo King, the king himself, decided to come up with this book titled Black Nation. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind, says the Bible. So through this book, we hope to transform the mindset of Africans towards collective prosperity and boost their self-esteem. For so long, we have asked why Africa remains so poor while feeding the world. They steal our resources, yet complain of the heat. No more, I say. Black Nation will help shape your mind and entice you into working hard for the liberation of our land. I do not want to appear like a preacher not living up to his message. So as I encourage you to work hard for Africa, I too will continue doing this work I started. A few months ago, I turned 23, and in the space of 4 years, we founded a company called Virgin Skin, which I still run till date. I have written and edited, analyzed an impressive number of local business plans. Equally, I've had the privilege to train a few entrepreneurs and speak in high-profile conferences and seminars. And now, the icing on the cake, probably my most exciting achievement till date, the publication of Black Nation, which I co-authored. My co-author's profile is even more impressive. He runs an organization called I Motivate. He's a coach motivator. He equally runs a successful blog and has been writing since the age of 8. With due respect to all wise people in this congregation, I would like to say, success is not wealth and possession. Neither is it money nor riches. This is vanity and will rot at your death. But success is rather measured by the number of lives you impacted, how influential you have been to others who needed you, the contributions you brought in making your community a better place. So, in a desire to make my community a better place, I have decided to donate 33.3% of sales from Black Nation to charity. We want to provide reusable sanitary pads for young girls in the Grand North. So to all who will buy the book, not only will you gain knowledge, but you will equally be contributing to a positive action, impacting your country and changing lives. So ladies and gentlemen, if you die today, what will Africa remember you for? What testimony will be told of you? How many lives will genuinely celebrate your impact, like we so celebrate Thomas Sankara, Nelson Mandela, Uben Umyobe, Cheikh Anta Diop, just to name a few. I don't know about you, but I would love to say, like Paul, I have fought a good fight, finished my race, and kept my integrity. If my speech made sense to one person, yes, just one person, then my objective has been attained. And if my book can inspire just one person into taking action, then I go home a fulfilled man. I came, I saw, I conquered. I remain your fellow servant, Jobari Nganjo Emmanuel.